I scored 2 cherry logs that someone had pulled out of their backyard, and with the help of my friend Brian, we slabbed up the logs into lumber, which actually went flawlessly for once. I was left with several of the spots on the trunk where the branches came off the trunk, and this would suit better for wood turning than for trying to make cherry lumber out of it. Question I was faced with on this was how to cut these to make the best blanks for wood turning. Now in the past, I'd cut these just with a saw and putting the log on the ground, but this hadn't worked so well, so I designed a jig to hold the logs at a particular angle so I could cut them. It's 2 end structures in an X shape with 3 struts running between to make a cradle to hold the log in position. So I started by building the lap joints at each end, which meant carving out a bunch of material. I really like using the radial arm saw for dados and this kind of work because it's really quick. On the first pass, they fit, but the cut wasn't quite deep enough. So it's easy to just adjust that and rerun the cut. I had a bunch of stair treads that I had taken off of a stair I'd taken off our back deck. So it was nice to just reuse that wood since this is going to get beat up and probably cut up. I wasn't so sure about using metal screws and having the chainsaw so close, but I'll see how this goes and whether that's going to be an issue. If it is, then maybe I'll have to remake this using more traditional wood joinery without any metal fasteners. But this was much quicker to do it this way. So this is sort of a prototype to see if it's going to work. I had to attach a piece to the X frame to be able to slice off the bottom so the feet sit flat on the ground. It also gives me more width at the bottom so it'll be more stable from side to side. And then it's just a matter of attaching all the pieces together.
It's not testable. I can tell if someone is
Clamps help with holding the wood together while I put the screws in. And there we have it. Now to test it out. And it actually worked great. I thought I may have to put in some pieces to help hold the log on so it wouldn't slide off the end, but it actually worked just fine. And I only nicked it a little bit with the saw, so I don't think the screws are really going to be an issue. It also doubles as a cross-cutting jig, so this will help when I'm just cutting firewood or need to cut some length off of a log. Whoops. And the wood ended up looking great on the inside. And then we're into the bandsaw. It's mostly just a matter of finding a center, and then that center will sit on that little screw you can see below on the jig. And that lets me just rotate around that screw and get a pretty nice circle. We have a bowl blank. when I was done cutting out the blanks, the leftover pieces were almost more interesting than the pieces I was after in the middle. And this is at the lathe. This is doing one of the pieces. I'm finding with these I'm doing more hollowing out, or actually undercutting the edge a little bit, so I'm having to work kind of behind the edge on the inside, which is I haven't done so much of. I could see getting into doing more hollow form type of work.
Police caught up with him. They used pepper spray in a second.
And there's the first pass on 2 of the bowls, and these will now dry for a year or so, and I can turn them down into a final form.